The Young Turks brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup.
Let's take a serious look at the Republican candidates, and I will have a prediction here. So everybody get ready. I know what you're thinking.
Can't wait.
So, Gallup poll out. It has two clear leaders and several other people that are in contention. The two clear leaders, when asked in the different categories of Republicans, educated, non-educated, rich, middle class, poor, these are all, of course, rough categories. Mike Huckabee and Mitt Romney finish in the top two fairly consistently. And then you've got a second layer of Sarah Palin, Newt Gingrich, Ron Paul, Michelle Bachmann that are all kind of hanging in there. And then you have the people who are or are not running, who are or are not relevant. Mitch Daniels, Tim Pawlenty, Rick Santorum, John Huntsman, and Gary Johnson. First of all, when you look at the polling data, it's interesting because you can see what each of them is appealing to in their different demographics. For example, Romney does better among richer folks. Who's surprised by that? No one, right? He also does better among educated people. You know who does the best among non-educated people? Sarah Palin. Come on, that's awesome. But the guy who does really solid with, the lower brackets and the middle class, Mike Huckabee. I think he's the real contender here. All right, but first, as my official 2012 prediction for the Republicans, I would like to eliminate some people. The first guy I would enthusiastically like to eliminate is Tim Pawlenty. That guy has no chance. Bunch of dudes in Washington are like, oh my God, Tim Pawlenty's not mentally challenged. I think he'd be a great candidate. Nobody knows Tim Pawlenty. I don't care how much you like him in Washington, okay? And he's the least interesting candidate in the history of America. Gone. Eliminated. Okay? Done. End of
this.
Furthermore, Tim Pawlenty, you're eliminated. Go home. Okay? You're fired, to use one of the other candidates. Signature line. Then you got Rick Santorum. Oh, come on. He lost by 18 points in his own home state. Come on. Gone. John Huntsman, probably their best candidate. Less than 3 people know John Huntsman. If you ask John Huntsman, who's John Huntsman? He'd be like, which one is that? Is that one? We're Mormons. We got a lot of, nephews. I'm not sure who that is. Okay. No chance. He's not even trying, I don't think, in 2012. He's trying to get name recognition for 2016. Huntsman is gone. Gary Johnson, come on. Super libertarian, running on legalizing pot, getting out of Afghanistan. Come on. Gary, nice knowing you, okay? And the people are like, what if Mitch Daniels comes into the race? Oh my God, what would happen if Mitch Daniels came into the race? He would immediately be eliminated. Who the hell's Mitch Daniels? That's the governor of Indiana? Again, some people in Washington know him. They're like, oh, Mitch Daniels. Nobody else knows him. And he's in a 2-man race with who's more boring, Tim Pawlenty or Mitch Daniels. I think Daniels is a lot better, but he's not going to win, okay? So these guys are gone. Now we get to the second tier, okay? Michelle Bachmann, lunatic, okay? Could she make a run for it because there's plenty of lunatics in the Republican field? Sure. Can she get past number 3? No. Bachmann, sad day. Done. Ron Paul, fascinating guy. By the way, what's the category that he does best in? Of course, the young. Okay, young love him. Huckabee does better in the older category, right? But Ron Paul believes things like we got to go back to the gold standard and we should get rid of entirely Social Security and Medicare. He said that on my MSNBC program. Okay, nice knowing you, Ron. And you're a fascinating guy. I'm glad you're in the race, but you're not going to make it. Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich, you know what his unpopularity rating is? 2-1 against. 2-1 people think that they hate him as opposed to they like him, okay? How's that guy going to win a primary? Oh, hell no. He got 3 wives. Remember what his excuse was for dumping his second wife to go with his second or 18th mistress? He said, I was working too hard. And I love my country too much, so that's why I had to bang her and then make her my 3rd wife. It was nice knowing you, Newt. You're gone, okay? Sarah Palin, come on. She's not even going to run. You know what she's at? She's at 61% unpopularity in her home state of Alaska, where she used to be 80% favorable. She's now 61% unfavorable. Besides, she's making way too much money on the book circuit with her reality shows, et cetera, et cetera. She ain't got no interest. She's not even going to she's not going to run because she doesn't want to get embarrassed. Okay. So in the end, once you go through all these guys, who's left? There's only two guys. It's Mitt Romney and Mike Huckabee. It's going to be a two-man race. So I think they're going to have, this is my official prediction, I think that Romney and Huckabee are going to have an Obama-Clinton-like primary. It's going to be real tough. Now, here's part of what backs that up, other than the fact that, look, the obvious, and I don't know why everybody can't see this. I don't know why we're having a conversation about the other candidates. They finish in the top two in every poll, right? And so it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. But also, why do they finish in the top two? Huckabee is super strong in the South and in the Midwest. And by the way, first, of course, part of the primaries, first caucus is Iowa. That's in the Midwest, so Huckabee might do really well there. The third one is in South Carolina in the South. Now, Romney does really well in the East and the West. So he will do well in New Hampshire likely. That's the first primary. So they'll be right in the mix, and then they'll have one, a couple each probably in the beginning, and everybody will start talking about Romney versus Huckabee. And here's the other part of it. Romney has a world of money. The people who have invested already in any of the Republican candidates, they've almost all invested in Romney. A little bit in Gingrich too, but generally in Romney. And the Republican with the money usually wins. And as far as Huckabee's concerned, he's a real populist. And he's got people, his favorability ratings, when you look just at that category, are super high compared to Romney on the others. So Huckabee will run as a populist. Romney will run as a competent businessman. My guess is it'll be a slugfest. I'm not absolutely confident who's going to win that. I think Huckabee is the much more appealing guy in terms of Republican voters, but money usually wins on the Republican side. So I'm not sure who's going to come out of that. Here's what I do know. If Huckabee comes out of it, I think it's a much bigger threat to President Obama. I think that he's got to be incredibly careful because Huckabee could win it all.
Eventually, you're going to have a computer disaster, your computer is going to crash, and you're going to lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at Carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.